Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are jumping right into the architecture of destiny. Specifically, we're unpacking that deeply ancient, profound concept of cause and effect. You know, if you're a focused learner who's ever paused and wondered why things happen the way they do, and maybe more importantly, whether you actually have any say in the matter, well, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to break down these rich source texts to understand how our everyday choices are quite literally constructing our reality.
Okay, let's dive into it. Here is our roadmap for demystifying the mechanics of destiny today. 1. Understanding cause and effect. 2. The roots of destiny. 3. The three poisons. And finally, 4. Rewriting your fate.
So let's kick things off with a massive question that the source texts confront completely head-on. Honestly, it's a question humanity has wrestled with for thousands of years. Are we controlled by fate, or do we create it? Think about it. When a sudden disaster strikes, or, on the flip side, a stroke of incredible good luck lands right in our lap, is that just pre-written destiny, or is it somehow a result of our own making? Let's see exactly how these spiritual philosophies answer that.
Part 1. Understanding cause and effect. The universal law of action and reaction.
First things first, we have to strip away some of those modern pop culture misconceptions about karma. The sources are very clear. Cause and effect isn't some mystical, vindictive punishment system. Not at all. It's defined as a fundamental, immutable natural law. It dictates that absolutely every single physical, verbal, and mental action inevitably produces a corresponding reaction. Really, it operates just like gravity. You drop an apple, it falls. You perform an action, an effect will follow. It's that simple.
To truly wrap our heads around this mechanic, the source material uses this brilliant agricultural metaphor. Think of the seed as the cause. That's your present action. Then the harvest is the effect, which ultimately becomes your future destiny. The texts state it plainly. Plant beans, get beans. Plant melons, get melons. I mean, it makes sense, right? You simply can't plant a toxic seed and expect to harvest the life of peace and prosperity. The universe just doesn't work that way.
And this actually brings to life the ancient wisdom of the sage Mencius. He's quoted in the text saying, "Calamity and happiness in all cases are men's own seeking." It's a pretty heavy realization when you sit with it. It emphasizes that our current conditions, whether we're experiencing great joy right now or going through really intense hardship, they aren't random. They are the direct harvest of the seeds we ourselves planted in the past.
Moving to part 2, the roots of destiny, why our lives differ.
Now you might be wondering, if we're all governed by the exact same universal law, why do our lives look so wildly different right out of the gate? Why do some people face constant hurdles or illness, while others just seemingly glide through life with wealth and success? Well, the texts answer this by categorizing our destiny into 2 distinct types of karmic results, or fate. First, there's invisible fate. This is the harvest of seeds planted in past lives. It dictates things we seem to have no immediate control over, like our innate baseline health, our intelligence, or even those unexpected disasters that completely blindside us. Second, we have visible fate. These are the immediate, observable results generated in this current life. Think of going to prison because you committed a crime, or getting a promotion because of your hard work. Both visible and invisible atonements are constantly shaping our daily reality.
Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is how completely systematically our destiny is constructed. Our karma-producing actions fall neatly into 3 distinct categories: physical, verbal, and mental. Our bodies can generate negative karma through physical acts like stealing. Our speech generates karma through lying or slander. But perhaps most profoundly, our minds generate karma simply through internal thoughts of greed, anger, and ignorance. Every single thing we do, say, or even just think is actively writing our fate.
Which brings us to part 3, the 3 poisons, the pitfalls that trap us.
Okay, so if we logically know that negative actions bring negative consequences, why do we humans continuously create negative karma? The spiritual texts point to 3 foundational mental pitfalls: greed, anger, and ignorance. These 3 poisonous mindsets are actually the ultimate root causes of all those negative deeds we just talked about. The texts argue that as long as our minds are infected by these 3 poisons, we're going to remain spiritually trapped in an endless cycle of suffering and reincarnation, just constantly planting bad seeds and harvesting bad fate.
But among these 3, the texts highlight one as by far the most dangerous: ignorance. It's actually the root cause of both greed and anger. It is the absolute most challenging poison to overcome, because it makes us disbelieve in the law of cause and effect entirely. And think about it. If you don't believe your actions have consequences, you're certainly not going to change them. The texts beautifully and kind of tragically compare ignorance to individuals walking completely in the dark, never seeing the light of day, entirely unaware of the cliffs they're walking right toward.
And here is where the sources make a truly fascinating leap, connecting our personal daily karma to massive global events. Consider this powerful quote from Zen master Tissy Shao. "The cause of wars and conflicts on Earth are due to the vast amount of killings done by humans." The texts assert that even our everyday dietary choices, specifically the eating of meat, accumulate a massive collective karma of violence. According to this philosophy, a violent world is simply the collective harvest of millions of daily violent choices.
Part 4. Rewriting Your Fate, From Determinism to Free Will.
Now, I know all of this might sound a bit heavy, but destiny is absolutely not a fixed prison, provided you know how to consciously change it. The texts draw a very sharp line in the sand here. Before spiritual cultivation, you're basically just flowing along with the changing trends of the physical world. You are trapped in karma. But after cultivation, once you awaken to the truth, a massive paradigm shift occurs. So the crucial point is that your determination now dominates your fate. You completely transition from being a passive victim of destiny to the active master of it.
So how exactly do we rewrite that fate? Well, the source texts prescribe a very clear 3-step procedure to alleviate karmic debts. Step 1, you must acknowledge and sincerely repent your past karma. You basically have to own your previous harvest. Step 2, stop creating new bad karma immediately. The texts strongly advocate for upholding strict moral precepts and adopting veganism to completely halt the karma of killing. And step 3, actively cultivate virtues. It's not enough just to stop doing bad things. You have to actively do good to build positive spiritual merits.
To guide that active cultivation, the texts provide a solid framework known as the 5 constant virtues. They are benevolence, righteousness, propriety, wisdom, and faith or sincerity. These aren't just polite suggestions, by the way. They are the ultimate cultivating standards. When you integrate these 5 virtues into your daily life, the texts state that you literally initiate changes to your destiny, preventing disasters and actively steering your life toward blessings.
Of course, to make sure you don't fall right back into that trap of ignorance, you have to continually practice keen awareness. You must deeply observe the karmic cause, which is the seed of your thoughts, and how it combines with corresponding affinities, like the soil and the external conditions around you. By deeply observing how your internal choices interact with external conditions to create reality, you cut right through the dark of ignorance and regain your innate wisdom. And this brilliantly illustrates our ultimate takeaway from the text Tao of Cultivation. It says, "Our virtuous deeds enable us to change our predestined life." It is an incredibly empowering conclusion to our structured analysis today. It reminds us of the profound weight of our actions. You are not stuck. Through virtue, you can fundamentally alter the trajectory of your entire existence.
We've seen how the invisible forces of cause and effect actually build our reality, and more importantly, how we have the real power to take control of that construction. So I'm going to leave you with this final, vital question. Now that you know the rules of the harvest, what seeds will you plant today? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep cultivating your mind, and I will catch you next time.